And here we are. Welcome back to the playthrough. Today we're just doing a little event, casual event day. I got Sheeny here, and the Tycoon event is going on here until the 18th, about another week. And yeah, I'm trying it again. We did it last time. I didn't get very far, as we're gonna see here. Get our recap with Mr. Tycoon Man. And that's just because of me being bad, me being a failure, me sucking hard at Tycoon, just because I don't fully understand the rules. And that just comes from, I guess, like, it's like learning the menu at a new fast food restaurant. Like the first couple days you do it, learning the rules of the game is basically just learning what the fucking card combinations do. And the problem with this is that it changes every time there is a playoff. There's a playoff now. This is the 9th playoff. It's the Genos Cup, I believe. So we're gonna do it again just because I like to participate in the events. I also had a little training regimen that you can do for a bit of experience for one of my version 6 quests. So I decided, why not? We'll get this done. And yeah, today we're gonna be talking about failure. We're gonna be talking about how to fail like a genius, because a lot of people don't realize that there are ways. People don't just become super smart, super genius-like, super radiant from nowhere. There are ways to turn your failures into something that springboards you into that lifestyle. But a lot of people don't take it, and we're gonna get into why. Get into why here. Sorry, I got some coffee. Get a little bit of coffee here. I won't take too long with you here, guys. Like I said, I'm just gonna do one match here. And of course, we're talking about failing like a genius, so this is not gonna be a successful match. I'm still working on becoming good at this game, and I'm pretty much only playing it, live and recorded for you guys, because I couldn't care to get good at it. It's one of those things, this MMO has a lot of games like that, where it's just like, this is such a far offshoot from the regular gameplay. I mean, of course it's still turn-based, but it's just I don't feel like it's necessary for me to really learn too much. But yeah, it definitely brings me back to those Persona days of me playing that stupid mini game in Persona, trying to get the figurines and whatnot. And failing once again, because I just don't get it too much. But whatever, it's a pretty casual game here. You just put the cards down, and whoever gets to the end with all of their cards gone first is the winner. Sort of like Uno, but yeah, they all do different stuff when you put them down in the stack. All right, so let's get down to brass tacks here, guys. Essentially, failure brings pain, and pain brings progress. But you can alchemize that pain into progress, or, the progress can turn, detrimental, let's say, when you don't alchemize it and you allow the pain to control you. And that's essentially the main gist of the story here. All of these little tips I'm doing are basically just ways to alchemize that failure into something that pushes you to do better. Not the world to be easier, but you to be better for the world. And what you have to remember is that when you get better, the difficulty setting automatically goes up. It doesn't like stay where it was for you in your bitch ass when you're in your weakened state. It automatically goes up for you. But a lot of people also don't realize that there is a level cap. There always is, and you have to do some sort of Herculean tasks, some crazy quest, some horrible life tragedy has to come along as a main story quest to get you beyond that. And this is in every aspect, whether it be, physical attributes, looks, money, whatever, man. You're not just gonna elevate automatically without going through some sort of trial, some sort of rite of passage, some sort of, hero's journey, if you will, on your way to the success or the fulfillment that you're looking for. And naturally, I know there's going to be quite a bit of pushback for this because of the whole nepo baby and whatever. But the exceptions are not the rule, of course. There are a lot of ways you can get up, and the reason why this is not an exact rule, the reason why it's often met with a lot of disdain, a little bit of pushback and indignance, is because the most natural way that we hear about people getting up nowadays Ooh, excuse me. Sorry, that was supposed to be for the Patreon. I apologize. The reason why we get so mad and indignant over it nowadays is because most often we only hear about the people who do it with the tricky ways, with the conceited ways, with the ways that should not truly be corroborated. That's what we normally hear about coming up and getting their just desserts, okay? But they are not failing like geniuses. Actually, they kind of are. Because we're gonna get into the first way to fail like a genius. The first way to fail like a genius is to not give a fuck about your failure, how you look, you know, your reputation, or anything like that. You know, you'd be like, okay, well, we're gonna come back and win next time, and I don't care how I look this time because it gave me knowledge that I needed to win the next time. And yeah, that's it. That's all you need. That's all you need. You know, a lot of people get too tied up on, you know, their reputation or like I said, how they look or how the situation seems or feels to them or their family members or their party members or whatever. You can't get caught up on details like that. You know, if you really want to turn this loss into an authentic W and grow your brain and get that genius stature, you can't give a shit, man. You can't give a shit. You got to realize that everything is a testament to be pushed toward your future and no one else's. It's all a testament for that. And so every time you lose, it's a pretty good mindset shift. To just say, you know, no matter what happens, I can always get better from here. You know, you got to be glad that you took that loss. And yeah, just be like, whatever happens, that's gonna fuel the good things that are coming in the future. And you gotta be delusional like this. You really do. Because who's to say you won't take those skills or things you take from this failure and you'll just keep losing in the future? Who's to say that won't happen, right? Probably will. Probably will. Depending on how bad the loss was, it probably will. But this delusion will bring you into genius territory because simply focusing on the present and not letting, you know, your past transgressions get to you in a bad way. Of course, we remember what we lost at. We remember what we can improve on, but not letting them, you know, bake your futures in a bad way automatically makes you seem like you're a new game plus, like you have divine intervention. You know, it gives you that focus energy that a lot of people crave, right? It's the presence. It's the presence. Indeed, indeed, indeed. So that's the first way, and I feel like that's what a lot of people, you know, who engage in these tricky Dixie tactics. That's what they do. I mean, that's why they have so much, like, such a lack of shame for openly deceiving people and all this. It's because they don't even remember that they fucking did it, man. They do it, and then it's out of their mind. So that's why, you know, it's very stupid that what a lot of people do over the internet to succeed, to win things over, to gain the attention of others, which of course gives them the money because they know how to, you know, fuel attention, all that good stuff. But at the same time, you realize they are doing things. They are doing the steps that allow them to tap into the genius technology. You know, maybe you don't do actual genius things, but if you do it in a genius way, you know, there's not too much of a difference. And so that's mainly the first thing. You know, first off, you have that crazy confidence that just allows you to say anything, to do anything, to go anywhere, make the failures, and still be like, all right, but we're still awesome. We're still moving forward. You gotta have that shark mentality, first and foremost. But then after that is where the real work comes. It's because, like, if you like I said before in this first step, if you use it in the wrong way, then you're just gonna keep failing. You know, it's not gonna matter how confident you are if you keep failing, right? So here's where the actual genius part comes in, right? Because you can trick, you can deceive, but without a lot of luck, without a lot of you know, internet grifters to back you up, you really won't go too far unless you actually learn how to win. So your second step is to allot time in your day to analyze your failures. And you don't just analyze a failure and leave it as a failure. You analyze a failure and then you take what you need out of it. You take what you need out of that failure and you alchemize that as a win. Why? Because you took what you needed. So how is it not a win? How is it not a win? And I'm not saying to like, you know, actually erase failures. Like you can accept what actually happened in real life, but you realize the mind is powerful. So if you'd accept what happens in real life and then take a piece of that and only hold the piece that you need in your mind, then, you know, that is what being a genius is about. It's about that crazy delusion so that your mind is a haven instead of a prison. So it's somewhere you can rest in, you can recover your HP in, instead of being a haven that you must run to for safety. Or, you know, a prison that you trap yourself in. To give yourself that sweet, succulent vibe of, you know, authenticity, of hope. There has to be like a level of delusion, but you have to realize that the real life is there. It helps a lot if you are sort of a athletic, outside type person, if you're an extrovert, able to travel out a little bit more. But really think about where you want to go in life. What kind of visions you have for your future, and just allow your failures to get baked into that vision. No matter what it is, I assure you, the loss taught you something that will lead you closer to what you want. And when you take that away, like I said, an important part is to manipulate your brain into thinking that the loss is a good thing because of that. You have to tell yourself that, you know, it may not have been the most optimal way to learn this lesson, but I learned this lesson, I gained this piece of knowledge, and thus, from that consumption, I can move along with clarity and confidence, you know, that we made it through, that we're still fucking alive, that hopefully we still have a house, hopefully we still can eat, you know, hopefully our face didn't get fucking blown off, right? And if one or more of those things are true, then you can move on and you can win the next time. There is always a chance to win the next time. That's how crazy life is, man. But no matter how many tests you win or lose, there's always gonna be another one. There's always gonna be another one. That's why I'm sick of this shit. That's why I'm legitimately sick of this fucking shit. It's because, you know, it's like I could have perfect attendance, I could have perfect records, I could have perfect marks, and then I show up late one time, I don't answer a question one time, you know, I do something fishy one time, I act slightly sus, and suddenly I am suspect number one. So I don't care, man. And because of this attitude, because of this way of life that I've just sort of adhered to, you know, I'm always the Tyrone of the group. I'm always the Ray, you know, the Pookie advocate. And you gotta just relax and notice where your strengths lie, where your weaknesses lie, and, you know, what your stat growths are. I feel like that's also how we fail as geniuses. You know, sometimes I'll actively acknowledge that I am out of my league in this battle, you know? I'll be like, let me assess the situation. Yeah, I'm probably gonna lose, and I'll fight it anyways. But I'm fighting with the knowledge that I'm probably not gonna win. And thus, I'm not too sad, not too angry when the outcome is not completely favorable. And you take a couple of those steps back from the beginning that we talked about, you know, you don't take it too seriously on the loss, you take it on the chin, you take what you need from the loss, you develop your instincts to know that it's not that serious, to know that you can alchemize it and take what you need from it. And yeah, it seems like damn, that guy lost horribly. Damn, that guy lost his fucking job and his car and his life and his house. And he still seems like he's doing good. How does that work, man? How does that work? He's still attractive. I still want to cheat on my boyfriend with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand. And it's a lot of these aspects. A lot of these aspects that like I said, I just automatically do. Actually, I don't know if I said that yet this episode, but I do automatically do these things. Because I've always kind of been obsessed with growth. You know, growth on a molecular level of any kind, really. And yeah, because of that, I look at life a little bit of a different way. I hope this was helpful. I don't know if it really was. This is about 3 things to fail like a genius. I'll keep failing this shit like a genius. We came in 3rd this time, so it wasn't horrible, right? But yeah, I think this is helpful information for people to realize that you really don't need to have 100% marks in the world. And in fact, a lot of people hate it if you have 100% marks. A lot of people will be disgusted with you, especially if you're also attractive. You got to have something bad about you, okay? So because this has to happen, because there's no real way to be perfect, I say roll with your punches. You know what I'm saying? Love your losses. That's about all I have for you today, people. I appreciate you, and I will see you next time.